We have a room full of people. I counted 21. And we haven't had 21 guys at a regular meeting, thank you, sir, for a year and a half. So that's pretty good, and that really makes me feel really, really cool that we have this many guys here tonight. And I think, if I counted right, we got 5 either show and tell and or presenters, so that's even better. So I appreciate everybody's participation and activation. So I think we're on the way back from COVID, and that's really, really cool. So I talked to Jim Senko earlier today. He's still on the mend. He's doing radiation for some brain cancer, and he's tired a lot, so he's not going to be here tonight. And I told him that I would mention his name to everybody, so keep him in your good thoughts and prayers and what have you. Looks like he's going to be okay. I got through some eye surgery, and I'm hoping to be a lot better than what I am now, because I still can't see as well as what I would like, but I can see better than what I could. So we'll see. We'll see if I can turn that saw on one of these days. And we don't have Ralph here today. Ralph had his hip replaced again, and he's walking with a cane, and I see him at church every now and then, but I missed him yesterday. So he seems to be doing well. So is there anybody else who's had any kind of problems or whatever that we know of?
Don't ask.
Don't ask? Okay. Well, I'd like to try to keep track of that so that we know that everybody's healthy and up to snuff. And if we can send you a get well card or something, say, please let us know, okay? All right, moving on. Treasurer's report. Steve Fairhouse.
We're sitting with about $4,500 right now. We're gonna make a proposal tonight that the group will vote on, but we'll bring that up later.
Yes.
In case anybody wants a handout or a business card for the club, I bought a bunch. I didn't bring the whole packet, but I got a couple here if people wanna grab a few.
Okay, cool. We're always looking for new members. I think we've added 3 new member names to the list for the newsletter. Okay, so we're getting some new people in, and hopefully they'll show up and be active. Okay, old business. Let's just do this in the order in which I wrote them down. Norm has something to say about his trip to Grafton. Can you bring us up to date?
Did anybody else go to Grafton? Tom Stack and I went down. It's quite a place. It's not a fancy retail establishment, but it's a really big warehouse, and they have a ton of other big slabs outside. If you're interested, the guy would be interested in coming up here and explaining his retail outfit. He goes to Montana to get big slabs. He goes to Florida to get exotics and so forth. He even has a warehouse in Florida. So let us know if you want to hear a presentation like that next month or next year.
I've been, is it right on the main drag there in Grafton?
Yeah.
Well, everything is, but what was the name of the place? I've been there, I just don't remember.
We've been there too.
I've been there.
It's a great place.
It's a neat place to go. I've never seen so much wood and slabs in my life.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
If somebody can come up with a name, or I'll Google or whatever.
I think it's
Norm.
Knotty Hardwood.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Naughty Hardwoods?
I believe.
Naughty or naughty?
There you go, K-N-O-T-T-Y, Naughty Hardwoods? Okay, all right. There's nothing wrong with being naughty, and there's nothing wrong with being naughty.
Apparently there's another one down the road from the Arch that makes blanks for guitars, and they get it right off the river, loads of hardwood, and when they make their blanks, whatever left in scrap, they throw in a bundle and it's up for grabs. Because they want pure wood for guitar blanks.
And this is a different place nearby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there on the river, just down the street from the Arch.
I looked up the name the other day, I can't.
Something like Hibden,
Yeah,
Hardwood?
correct, Hibden Hardwoods, yes.
What
So,
size blanks are we talking about? What are we talking about?
it depends on what they've got. The last time I was there, I got a piece of walnut that was 6-7 inches wide and 8 foot long, and they said that was scrap. It
I
was
think
a
the
inch
club's
thick.
been there before, but it's been a long time. I think.
His native woods are rather economical, but exotics are always higher than we like to pay.
Bring any wood back?
Oh yeah, I bought $50 worth, and Tom was real pleased with the hard maple he found down there.
Okay. Hard maple. All right. Sounds like it was a good trip. I'm sorry that I couldn't get there. Yes, Mike?
Jerry Marsick and I went down to a place in Missouri. It's about a 2-hour drive. It's called Mueller Brothers Lumber, and they sell overages from orders. These are some of the lots that they have. For instance, like they had 4-quarter white oak FAS, 3 to 4 foot lengths, 162 board feet at $3 a board foot.
Oh, wow.
They had stuff at $1.50 a board foot. They had like birch, 2 and better, 265 board feet at $1.50. They had basswood frame, which means if it's frame, it means it's like furniture frame lumber. But they had 4 to 6 foot lengths, 91 board foot at 65 cents a board foot. So what they do is they'll process orders for large orders, and anything that's left over from the logs, they may process, 200 logs, and they'll grade it all, and based on what the order is, they grade out the lumber, and then they will bundle the order, and anything that's left over, they'll bundle and sell as overages, and it's, the price on it's really cheap. I asked the guy how much what was the minimum requirement for orders, and he said 500 board foot would be the minimum. An FAS, which is their highest quality, which means it's 97% defect free, was for white oak, 8-quarter, because that's what I was asking, was $580 a board foot. Which is a little high, but if it's all FAS, it's actually not a bad price. But you'd have to buy a minimum of 500 board feet. But on this list, if anybody's interested, I could send it to the group and they could look at what's on there, some of the stuff that they have, but it constantly changes.
Right.
So you can always contact them and see if you, but I know that Jerry ended up buying 2 bundles, one of hard maple and one of hickory, at a really good price.
Is that in the St. Louis area also?
It's actually north of St. Louis. It's in Old Monroe by Moscow, Missouri. It's north of, we took 100 down to 79 and then 79 to this place. So it's on the other side of the river, but it's north of St. Louis.
I think I know where that's at.
Yeah, it's, the place has been in business since like 1930 something. It's a
Okay.
family owned sawmill, but it's pretty big.
Uh-huh.
So.
All right. Yes,
Just a
Steve?
quick question, not to change the subject, but do any of these places sell a better quality hardwood plywood by any chance? And if not, where are the good sources for that?
In the past, I've reached out to Todd over at Woodhaven,
Okay.
and he's actually where I made all the cabinets for my house. And when I did, he let me order through him. So like, if he's putting an order in, he orders through a place in Chicago called Rainer. It's rrswood.com. It's my internet's really slow right now.
Is that Woodhaven in Moline, or what cities?
What's that?
Right off of Stevens
where we have
Drive.
a class
Oh,
over on
okay, okay.
Stevens Drive. It's Rainer.
He
and
will
Rick
sell whatever
Scott.
he's got to you if you wanna go over and talk to him.
Yeah, but if like I needed to order like 15 sheets of plywood, and I got maple plywood, one side unfinished, one side that had a UV coating on it, so my inside of my cabinets were maple on the inside that already had coating on it, so I didn't have to spray the inside of my cabinets. And I forget what I paid, but it was somewhere between $70, $70 and $80 a sheet, which was cheap compared to the place that's over off of I-55 they wanted like 140 or 150 a sheet. It was ridiculous. There's a place just before you hit the bridge on the right hand side, just south of Toronto Road. I forget the name of the place, but they sell all kinds of stuff for plywood, cabinets and stuff, but their prices are through the roof. But I called Todd and he's like, yeah, he just wants you to pick it up the day it gets delivered. That's the only stipulation, because he doesn't have room in his shop, otherwise it's gonna sit outside.
Has anybody tried the place I've mentioned for years? It's in Trenton, Illinois, and the guy's first name is Frank, but I can't think of the last name. Just go to Google Wood in Trenton, Illinois.
Kuntz.
You won't beat their plywood prices.
Kuntz. Norm.
We can't hear you. You gotta yell.
Kuntz, guy's name is, in Trenton, his name is Kuntz.
The first name is Frank, I can't think of the last name.
Yeah, it's K-U-N.
K-U-N-Z.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kuntz, K-U-N-Z.
They have decent prices. I lived down by there for 3 years, and they've got pretty good prices on stuff, and they'll have sales, and they do bundle sales of their scrap coming out of, because it's the equipment and wood shop, and then next door to it, they build cabinets and furniture. So some of their scrap ends up over there, and you can get good deals on that too. So, and then they'll sell floor models pretty cheap. They had a Saul stuff that I missed out on, that it was almost $1,000 cheaper than new, because it was their floor model they were getting rid of. So it's a good place to keep an eye on.
We'll move on? Okay, all right, we'll move on. Okay, very good. All of that about where to buy raw materials. That's pretty cool. Okay, next, Lon Scott, tell us about the auction that you want to have.
Okay, most of you know, but Nancy and I are moving into the Presbyterian residences there at Chatham and Lawrence. They're building those new duplexes. They're building 8 duplexes with 16 cottages, and we have one of the cottages. So we're preparing to sell an awful lot with Ron Saint at auction up at Greenview. And I just talked to him again today, and we're gonna have a pod come to the house, and it's for 30 days, and it's big, and I'll start loading. It's probably gonna take 2 pods at least for everything I've got. The first auction is going to be December 11th on a Saturday, and the second auction will be the following Saturday, December 18th. And the first one probably will have all the power tools and talking plywood. I was just smiling to myself. I've got at least 2 nice stacks of 1/4-inch plywood that's cherry and walnut, and it's finished on both sides. And you don't find that anymore, but I drug all that home from the Iowa Amana Furniture Factory. I used to know the foreman over there, and I was able to get a lot of stuff from him. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I have spalted hard maple, I have walnut, I have cherry. There'll be a lot of different woods. There won't be 500 board feet of all of this stuff, but there'll be some nice selections of stuff. And I've got some beautiful spalted, 6, 7 feet long, 8-inch wide, 3/4-inch spalted hard maples that are really nice. But anyway, we're gonna work to unload and get it in the pod, and he'll take that up to his center at Greenview, to his auction center, and he thinks I'll probably need a second pod. That's how much stuff I've got. And it's eclectic. There'll be everything from guns and ammo to original sporting artwork. I used to do a lot of clay shooting, and I have some paintings that were made that were out at Mathers. Just different things like that. I'll probably be selling 1,000 rounds of 9mm if anybody's into that kind of stuff, and some guns and tools. Tools.
Lots
You
of
won't believe
tools.
the tools, the clamps and the nice tools.
Clamps.
Yeah, neat hand tools. So
Will the tools be the first Saturday or the second?
probably the first, because I'm gonna try to keep the tools in the power tool. Now, I've got a brand new 14-inch jet bandsaw, the big one on the base, with at least 2 of the Carter attachments. One's for cutting, slicing, one's for cutting like sausage, and I've got 2 or 3 of the clamp bars that you turn the handle and they lock down on it, and all that kind of stuff. I've got a brand new jet scroll saw that is hardly been used. I've got that new drum sander from Canada that you can sand, paint, varnish, or anything that it won't stick to the sandpaper because it's a Velcro roll, and the sandpaper's Velcro, so when it's spinning, the Velcro leaves the roll and it doesn't get hot. And it's like the old, what did they call it? It's a sander that's open on the top that you just run it across. And I've got a new,
Stroke sander?
yeah, I've got,
Festool.
yeah, I've got the Festool MDF table, I've got the Festool router system, I've got 3 of the Festool rails, an 8-foot, a 6-foot, a 3-foot. I could go on, but it's gonna be fun.
I'll tell you what, why don't you give us a list, type it up, and email it to me. I'll email it to Dave. We'll get all of this stuff into the next newsletter. But it's gotta be done this month, so we can get it in the November newsletter, so we can get out and see.
I'll give you a sampling.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
can't promise everything, cause I got a lot. Okay, thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Lon.
And
Very
some of the
good.
guys are gonna help me, I appreciate that. And,
Okay.
2
Yeah.
of you in here have said that they're gonna help me to
Okay.
get stuff into the pod.
Well, that's always a big task.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, all right. Looks like we got a whole bunch of stuff going on, guys. How in the world did that happen? We didn't have hardly anything going on during COVID, and now we got so much stuff we don't know what to do. All right, let's see, where did I go? Let's see, at the last board meeting, we talked about putting a committee together and updating our bylaws and just changing a few things. The bylaws say we're supposed to have elections in January. Well, we're gonna have elections next month, so we need to take care of that. So we're gonna update the bylaws, and if you have an interest in wanting to sit down one night and go over 4 or 5 type pages of stuff and updating them, well, we could use some input. Okay? All right. New business. Why don't we do the budget for 2 outside speakers next? At the board meeting, we have been kicking around stuff to do for calendar year 2022. We would really like to have 2 top-notch presenters come in, one early in the year in February or March, and then one later on in October, November. Take a whole Saturday, find a place and invite a couple of different clubs and people and just have somebody talk about whatever, woodworking, okay? Topic is still open, people are still open, dates are still open, but we thought it was the right thing to do to bring it to the club and say, can we have authorization for a Saturday presenter group and budget some money to it so that we can operate and put some specifics together. So we were thinking that we would entertain a motion from the floor, from the group, for $2,000 for 2 different presentations for next year's group to do.
$1,000 each.
$2,000 each, which would. Each? Yeah.
No, that's way too
You
high.
can't do that, because you only
Okay,
got
so-
40,000.
We did this a couple of times in the past, and it cost the club less than $500.
Okay.
Because we charged everybody to come to whoever wanted to come. We had a small fee, I think it was $20 or $25, which covered, $35, which covered, Jimmy John's lunch, box lunch, and then a portion of it went to pay for the
Presenters' expenses.
presenters. We pay for a hotel. Like we had, Jeff Mueller come down from Chicago to do a presentation, and he did his presentation over at Bailey's Hardwood.
Right.
We charged $35. We probably had 40 or 50 people show up. I think the meal was like $11 or $12 for a box lunch, and then the remaining 12 or 13 went towards that, and then we paid for the hotel. There's $2,000 way too much.
Correct, and he didn't get to that part yet, which is tickets would offset that cost. That's just a front load to pay the bills, and then the tickets would come back in and reimburse the club.
I disagree. I was treasurer at the time, and $1,700 sticks out in my mind.
That's not- that's not what the club paid.
About 500 is when I was doing it.
Yeah, it was only like $500.
Yeah, and that's what
I
we're
got Jeff Mueller
anticipating as
come
well,
down.
after everybody pays for tickets and all that. This is just a front load, here's the money, so we can go ahead and reserve this, pay this guy, get everything taken care of.
Don't worry about
And then we'll
that.
get the tickets back to reimburse.
We
the
got
club.
plenty of money. I move that we get 2 people and the club will pay for it if we need extra for people who are coming, they'll
Okay.
pay it.
Okay, we have a
You
motion.
all
on
work
the-
it out.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to bring 2 guys in. And let's work on it and work it out, and the club can pick up whatever amounts that we need for it too, after charging attendees a nominal fee.
Need a second?
Second, Rich Nichols, okay, Roland and Rich, okay. All right. Rich. Okay, any further discussion? I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot of dough, from the club once we figure out what we wanna do and we get the bills paid and the guys that show up and pay $25 or $30 for the day. Yeah, Steve?
Just in line with what Mike was saying, the last time we did it, we had 22 members there for one, it was $35 a piece, so that's about $800. That we front loaded with people paying in. The whole bill was, I believe, $1,700 that year. So the club covered the difference of about $800 or $900. So we're in good shape, hopefully.
We're in good shape.
$2,000 will probably cover everything for both, for a whole
For
year.
both of them.
But I was at the meeting and front loading this thing to have access to 4,000, I think we're fine.
Yeah. And I
As
think
long as
you're,
we get turnout.
yeah, as long as we have the turnout, fellas, we got 21 guys in the room tonight. That's incredible. We had 22 guys at Ralph's, we had 25 guys at.
30.
30 people at Dustin's house, and we got 21 here tonight. Thank you, that's all I can say. We got some really cool guys here. Yeah, Norm?
We have a motion and a second on the floor. I call for the question.
Okay, all those in favor of front-loading, budget dollars from the club treasury to cover 2 professional presentations during calendar year 2022. Okay, did I get it all? Okay, please signify by raising your hand.
How much are we front loading?
Yeah.
$4,000 or $2,000?
2,000.
Okay.
$2,000.
Well, he said 2,000.
2,000 each,
Yeah,
that's
before,
why,
I'm like,
that'd
that's
break the
almost
bank,
entire
you know?
Everything, yeah.
No, you'd only front load 2,000
Right.
because you
Yeah.
get the first one off before you'd ever.
Okay,
That's-
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, grand total, two grand. Do I see everybody's hand up?
Yeah.
Huh? All but one?
No, I raised
Okay,
it.
okay. Everybody? Okay, it appears to be unanimous. Frank, did you have your hand up? No, okay, Steve did, okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, so.
I had my hand up, yes. I thought you were asking if I had a question. I don't have a question.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Okay, so the board will move ahead with this, okay, over the next month, 2 months. Bob is working with Mark Adams.
He's committed.
Okay, we got a commitment from Mark Adams, okay?
He gave us the details, and I think it's gonna be really good. 'Cause
Okay.
he's willing to speak the night before on his journey in woodworking, and then the next day he's willing to do the full 8 hours
Yeah.
on a topic.
Is this the guy from Indiana that?
Yes.
He came here before.
Yes, we've
Yeah.
had him before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's familiar with us, and there's a number of guys in this room who've been to his place for classes, and if it works out next spring and summer, I'll be there for at least 2 of them, so we'll see how that works out. So that's what we're working on, and we wanted you guys to know that we got bonked during COVID, but we're coming back, okay, and this is what we've come up with, okay? All right? Okay, any other questions or comments concerning bringing in a professional? Okay, seeing none. Let's talk about gift cards for the Christmas party. We were thinking we would have attendance prizes for the Christmas party coming up the first Wednesday of December down at Island Bay Yacht Club. Roland is going to be our host that night, and as he was 2 years ago. So I would like to entertain a motion from the floor to authorize a total of $200 for gift cards to be used as attendance prizes at the Christmas party.
I so move.
Moved by Norm, okay,
I'll second.
seconded by Frank Raymond, okay. Any further discussion? This is something that we have been doing at all of the Christmas parties that I have been to. And it'll go hand in hand with our spouses raffle too, okay? Let's see, Norm and Frank, okay. All right, okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of spending $200 for gift cards at the Christmas party signify by raising your hand. Okay, any opposed? Don't see any hands, it's unanimous again. Okay, all righty. Okay, I have got nominations for year 2022 club officers that we had put a notice in the newsletter. I hope everybody had a chance to read it. We're going to have elections next month at the November meeting. And the following offices need to have one or more people nominated for them. The office of President-elect / Vice President, the office of Treasurer, the Webmaster, the Newsletter Editor, and 3 members at large, okay? So, is there anyone who would like to nominate a club member? Let's open up the floor for nominations for President-elect / Vice President. Is there anybody who would like to stand up and say, I volunteer to be nominated? Or is there anyone who would like to nominate someone else? Okay. Don't be bashful. Okay, all right. Well, we'll work on that one, okay? How about the author? I got an email from Bob Booth just as soon as my email went out. He's battling COVID. I forgot to mention that at the top. So he's not here today. He said that he would be interested in either treasurer or maybe one of the 3 members at large. So let me talk to him and see if I can get a further definition later on, and we'll see how well he recovers from COVID and go from there, okay?
Can't we just nominate him and you can tell him, since you
Okay.
weren't here, this is what we did?
All right, well, that's kind of bloodthirsty, but he did mention it, okay. He did mention the word treasurer, okay, and I have that on my phone if we need to prove it to somebody. Okay, how about a nomination for Bob Booth for treasurer? Okay, Eric, okay, all right, Bob Booth. We have a second on that?
I second.
Okay, Bob Booth, okay. And that's Eric and Bob. Okay. All right, okay. How about webmaster?
Oh, time
Oh,
out.
wait, was it?
Nominate
Since when is
Steve.
it limited to one person?
Oh, it's not, pardon me. Okay, got ahead of myself.
We have a good treasurer right now. I
Okay.
nominate our current treasurer.
Okay, Steve?
I'll second.
Okay.
You can decline a nomination.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's Norm and Dustin, all right? All right, are there any more nominations for treasurer? No other names to be put out there for treasurer? Okay, all right. So we should close treasurer then for temporarily and move on to webmaster. Do we have anybody who would be interested in being webmaster?
Who's the current representative?
Mike is, Mike Mitchell. Terry?
Yes, sir.
You would like to volunteer for webmaster?
Nominate, yeah.
You want to
Yes.
nom?
Yes, please.
Okay. Would somebody please nominate Terry Tuttle for webmaster? Anybody?
I nominate Jerry.
Okay, all right, Dave, okay. All right, Jerry Tuttle. All right, and that was Dave, and do we have a second on that? Who wants a second? Okay, Dustin will. Okay, Dustin. Okay. All right, so we have somebody nominated for webmaster. Anyone else interested in being, webmaster? No? Okay, Mike's had enough of it. Okay, I'm sorry we got hacked. Dustin's gonna bring this up and explain everything that's going on with that. Okay. Okay, webmaster. No other nominations? Okay. All right, then we close webmaster and moved on to newsletter editor. Currently, Dave Pulaski is doing the newsletter. Do we have anybody interested in newsletter?
If he doesn't object, I'll nominate Dave again.
Okay. All right. All right, we have to have a second for that.
I'll second.
Okay. Rich got it, okay. Dave K, all right, so that's Dustin and Rich Nichols, okay. All right, so we have one nomination for newsletter editor. Okay, do we have any others? Anybody else interested in doing the newsletter? Okay? Yes.
I was gonna put in the, well, I haven't yet, but I was wanting to should have brought this up at the board meeting, but I'd like to have some more people contribute, blurbs of information.
Right, right.
Sometimes, I mean, they have been by email, I haven't been very good getting it in, like, who just had a sale this weekend? By email, I was told about it, and I didn't get that in there, I got it.
I dropped the ball on that one.
You know, so people
Okay.
supplying me with verbiages.
We can work on that, okay?
Yeah.
And I think, Dave, I think the biggest point on that was, again, it was COVID. We were not meeting, we didn't have a whole lot of activity, and there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to put in the newsletter. And I think we've turned the corner, I think we're gonna come back strong, and it may not be that big of a problem next year.
Well,
Okay.
I'm still just as lazy as I was, so.
I think we all are. Okay, all right, no other nominations for newsletter editor. Okay, let's move along to members at large. We currently have 3 members at large on the committee. One is Norm Kerner, the other is Steve Gage, and the third is Ralph Winch. Okay, so is there anyone who would be interested in being a member at large?
Hey, can we nominate Bob Booth? I'd like to nominate him, and he'll have to decide which one he wants to turn down. But he
Okay.
had mentioned both. I read the email too, and he mentioned he was interested in both, and this will give him the opportunity to turn down whichever nomination he wants to turn down on that.
Okay. All right. Okay, do we have a second for Bob Booth?
I second.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, Bob, and Dustin, okay. All right, anybody else?
I'd like to nominate Bob Stein.
Bob Steimel, okay. And you're John Cawley, thank you. Okay, Bob Steimel.
Welcome again, by the way. New member, John.
Thank you.
He's getting active. I met your brother.
He made me get active.
Okay. All right, who wants to second that nomination?
I'll second it.
Okay, Frank, okay.
You're welcome.
Frank, I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Are you interested in being a member at large?
I still have problems on Tuesday nights, so
Okay.
that's a key one for me. So
Okay. Personally, we can work, I think we can work around that because we have Mondays and Wednesdays too. And nobody is, I didn't even have perfect attendance. I missed one because I had eye surgery. So, yes, Dave.
Is our board meetings mostly on Tuesday, or are we?
They have been, board meetings, yeah. Board meetings are up to the president and whatever the board wants to decide. It seemed Tuesdays worked out fine for us this year. They don't necessarily have to be on Tuesday, okay? Whatever's gonna get people there. So, we'd love to have you if you'd be interested in it. You'd be dynamite at it.
As long as the understanding is, you know, that Tuesday nights are off limits for me,
Okay.
but that's.
All right. Would somebody please nominate Frank Raymond for member at large?
So moved.
Okay, Steve Gage, okay. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Eric, okay. Eric and Steve, okay. All right, now that's 3. Now we can have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Yes.
I'm gonna renominate Norm.
Okay, we'll nominate Norm. Norm, are you interested in being a member at large?
Yes.
Okay, Norm is interested in being a member at large, okay? So we have Norm, okay, Kerner, nominated by Steve Verholz, and
I'll second.
who would second? Dustin will second that, okay, Dustin? All right, okay, so that's 4, okay?
Do you feel like being a member of our?
Oh, no. I've already been elected, fellas. Dustin and I, we got elected a year ago. I got elected to immediate past president, and he got elected to president. That's how this goes, okay? So,
Well, I thought
I'm off the
past
hook.
president is
I mean,
everything
you know,
else.
I'm gonna be there anyway.
He'll be there because he's past president.
Yes,
Oh, that is?
yes. That is-
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It's a 3-year job.
I didn't mention let me backtrack and start at the beginning then, because I did not mention the 2 positions that are more than 1 year. President is supposed to be a president-elect, then a president, then an immediate past president, so that's a 3-year commitment. The vice president-elect is also a 3-year, because that you start year 0, then 1, then 2. So that's 3 years too, and we took care of that last time. So those 2 positions have already been filled, and we don't.
Well, you could take on 2 though.
Well, yeah, I guess we should.
I had president and editor at the same time twice, 2 years, so you can do 2.
I need
So
to
there's
take a
no
break,
need to
guys.
nominate you for past president.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
There is a nomination on the floor for Curtis Meinhardt to be immediate past president. Is there a second? Anybody? Good, nobody, okay, all right. Damn, I guess I'm ripping that. Okay, and nomination for Dustin before president. Do we have a nomination from the floor? Anybody? Okay. Lon Scott, do we have another, okay, Bob Steinmel seconds. Okay, so, all right, we did it officially, guys. All right. Not trying to railroad anybody here. Okay,
You want a nomination?
all right, now let's get back,
You want a nomination?
let's get back to member at large.
How many you nominate?
Are there any
Four
other
so far.
people interested in member at large? If there are, please raise your hand and we'll find somebody to nominate you. Okay, then let's close that. We have Bob Booth and Steve Verholz for treasurer. We have Terry Tuttle for newsletter editor.
No, webmaster.
Webmaster, I'm sorry. And then newsletter editor is Dave Kay. And members at large, Bob Booth, Bob Steinmel, Frank Raymond, and Norm Kerner. Okay?
Do we wish to overlook Ralph Winch, current board member?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, I'll nominate Ralph.
Ralph Winch.
I'll
Okay.
second Ralph.
Okay, Ralph. Winch, okay. And that's Norm and Dustin again. Okay, Norm and Dustin. Okay. All right, so we have, thank you. He wasn't here in my brain, I got brain dead on that. Okay, now, this does not mean that we cannot add someone or change things around next month before we have our election, okay? But we are moving along with people to fill in. Norm, yes?
In the past, I have suggested that we have more than 3 board members at large. Do we have to change the club constitution for that to happen?
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys the truth. My copy of the Constitution does not mention members at large, because we have not updated the Constitution to include members at large. So right now, I do not have an answer to that. What do you guys think? You think we should have 4 or 5 guys?
I think we need to have a committee, get our bylaws updated, stick with what we're doing, and then get our bylaws updated to
Okay.
either reflect or
I thought
whatever.
that was updated.
My copy is not. I don't know, if we've got,
The old laptop would have whatever. What he has is the newest thing that's on there. It's 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, let me look.
And it doesn't have it in there.
But having a committee to do this would be good.
Yeah, there is a date on this. Let's see, hang on. Did I get, yeah, March of 2017. I think this, I had asked Clay Crocker if he had a copy, and that's the copy that he gave me. If there's a newer copy of that, I don't have it. Yes?
Different, but still on the paper stuff. Is there a chance we could still have an old style list of names, members, and phone numbers? I still have difficulty finding everyone and getting
Sure.
them in.
I
I'd
have it.
love to have that. I don't have one.
I have one. I can send it to you via email.
That'd be great.
Okay, it is available. I have a working copy that if I didn't have it printed in paper, I could not.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
that.
could not operate as a chapter president.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, send one. Copy of membership list.
Hey, Lon, your thing is, December 11 and 18.
Yes.
But when do you need the help? When is the help coming?
I think,
Days before?
no, I think in about 2 weeks, we're gonna get a pod to my house, and then I've got 30 days to find people to help me at different times to take stuff in. So I don't have a direct answer on that yet, but the auctioneer told me today he's gonna go ahead and line it up and take care of everything, and they'll deliver it to the house, and we load it, the company picks it up, takes it up to him, and
Yes, I know.
anyway.
Okay.
So sometime mid-November?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, are we ready? Okay, all right, well, let's move on. Guys, we got 5 presentations tonight, and we got 15 minutes to do it. And how in the world did we get so much stuff done? Okay, so I'm gonna move on to program for the evening. Dustin will lead this guy off. Dustin, please. We're updating the website, and he's gonna tell us all about all the stuff that's going on.
So I won't take very long at all. Sorry, let me change one thing on here.
Hit the lines.
So the website, they're changing providers. We're still waiting on one more piece from the old provider. It's kind of again going back and forth. So within the next couple weeks, you'll be able to access our website. This is what it looks like. Pretty self-explanatory across the board. The only thing is the calendar will look a little, I'm in the wrong, there we go. The calendar will look a little different. Of course, we're in very slow internet, aren't we? Anyway, your homepage, whenever you go to the page, it'll have updates put on there that come from our events. I've just put a couple on there. And when you read more, calendar finally popped up, sorry. All the calendar information will be there. I'll just skip to that. Each one goes in, we'll even give you a map on how to get there. Regular meeting, MCL, with a little bit of information. And sorry. It's not wanting to. I cannot see any of my bars. There we go. So yeah, you go to read more, have more information, more photos, just like any other web page, pretty self-explanatory. Members can even make comments down below if they want to. All the newsletters will be in here, so you can go back and reference past newsletters just by clicking on any one of them. Still getting that put together. Just the general about us. Contact form for anybody that who comes to our page and wants to get more information. and it's just the standard contact form. The big difference is members. When you click on members, it's gonna ask you to log in. So when you go here, of course you don't know the password so you hit forgot password and put your email address in, it's gonna send you a link to reset your password for the first time. And then the login is just your...
Why do we need a password?
Because now you can, for two reasons. One, it makes it more secure. It's not just one password for everybody. And also you can log in and members can change their phone number, their address, or email address. You can change your own stuff on here. Or you can still ask us to change something if you need to. But you can update any of that.
Seems like we're the kind of an organization where nobody's gonna hack in and do stuff on that. By the time you have to.
They just did.
That's
That's why the website's down, because they hacked it.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's unfortunately I lost my this is all.
Using your phone as a hotspot or
No, it's this computer's also streaming this meeting, so it's. So when you log in, this is what you see. You see all the members, and each one will have a drop down with their email address and phone number in case you need to get a hold of them. There is a lot more information that can be put there. I put some stuff on mine just to show. So if I go, if you have a YouTube page, an Instagram account, a Facebook, you can put all that stuff in there if you want. If you have an Instagram where you put all your photos, your projects, you can throw that on your profile and other people can find it pretty easy. And then when you go to your own profile, and I'm logged in under Bob Fox's right now just to show as an example, you can edit the profile. And when you're in there to edit, you can change the different information that's in there. You can update your phone number, you can update your address. You can put a blurb in here if you want to put in there the type of stuff you like to do. Hey, I'm into this sort of part of the hobby, so people can see that. You can update your picture if you don't like the picture that's on there. But you can do all that yourself now. So, but that's the big change is
Make them look younger.
Yeah, there's an age regression section.
And then of course the log out button. So that, yeah, hitting members causes you to log in. It no longer shows all of our members to everybody out there. And then of course we'll work together to get this updated, and I'd like to have a page on here for members who want to have their contact information available if you do stuff on the side for profit and so forth. So and if you have any suggestions that you want to see added to the webpage, just say something, we can put it on there, that's no problem as well. Any questions? So you should,
The webpage address on the little cards that Steve's gonna hand out?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
If it's still,
Yeah, it's CAW@SBI.org.
Okay. No other questions for Dustin? Okay. Paul Crago, would you like to give us a quick, we're gonna run over time here, guys, but I think it's worthwhile, and hopefully our landlord won't get mad at us.
We have until, I thought 7:30.
Is it 7:30?
7:30.
It's 7.
Thank you. It's 6:30, it's 6 o'clock to 7:30. No, we got plenty of time. I was thinking 7 o'clock. Damn. Okay, all right, you're up, Paul.
Thank you. My name's Paul Crago. A lot of you may recognize me. I'm probably the tallest member here, but I haven't been since COVID, so I apologize for that. I got a call from David recently. He asked me about projects. I got this project that I did about 2 years ago for my sister out in California. And she liked this magazine picture in a fine woodworking magazine of this little cabinet. And it turns out to be, it's a one drawer mahogany table. I didn't have access to mahogany, so I did it out of cherry with help from Ralph Winch. I had to go to St. Louis, or no, CU Woodshop to get the thick 2-inch pieces I used here to make the octagonal tapered legs. That was a big challenge for me because I'm a novice woodworker. But at any rate, what I did was I saw this and I thought, well, the first thing I'm gonna have to do, because everything looks easy except for this. So I found out how I could by hand make these tapered octagonal legs. And I went to YouTube to do it. You can go to the next. So here's my 2-inch square blanks, some tools I used to draw. I had to draw circles on the end to make my octagonal notes, or marks. Then I could draw the tapers on the legs. Next one, please. There's the box, and I found this on YouTube. This guy built one on YouTube, and I ended up doing the same thing. It's got an axis here. You use a bolt to hold the piece of wood, and another axis here where you can hold the other piece, kind of like a lathe, and you can adjust this one up and tighten it in, or you can adjust this one down, which is what I did. I put the high end here, and then the thick end was down here, so I got a lot of wood off here and a little taper down there. But that was nice because I could do it a little at a time. But I sure couldn't do it all at once. I ended up doing a lot of it by hand. I got it close, and then I'd set my router on here and just shave it down to the line, and that worked pretty good. Let's do the next picture. Of course, the other thing in this project you may have noticed from the original illustration was you got to have all these biscuits lined up on this taper just right, or you're not going to get the box together. So this was a jig I made, or actually they showed me how to do this in the magazine, Fine Woodworking magazine, and it was great. But before I did this, I tried to do it without it, and I wasted some cherries, so live and learn. Next, please. This is more of the same operation, starting with a square blank, getting the biscuits cut, and then starting the tapers. Next, please. There's the box. You can see a little better here. After I get it all lined up, and this took a lot of trial and error. Once you get it, you're happy, you clamp it in here, and then you screw it down on the top. And of course, I had a little compass here that let me mark 360 degrees around it. You can't see the marks there, but that's how I lined everything up. I put a little level on here occasionally to see if I was level on the workbench. But I tried to do that, and it's cutting out way too much wood, so I ended up doing it with some by hand. Just a little closer view, you can see, barely see the lines here that I'm using. And this is just an illustration to help me don't lose my space here. I just take this out to make it the turn, screw it back in, and then clamp it down so it doesn't move anywhere, and then run the router back and forth until I get it shaved to the right height. There's the handwork I did. I had to clamp it onto my table. I don't have a nice table with stops in it, so I made my own little stops and just put it in between a couple of clamps and used hand planes to get down to my perfect line here. I got close, and then I'd move it over to the box. The box finished the job. This is the same thing. You're looking at the fat end now. I'm sorry, this is the thin end, because you can tell the holes. The other end I ended up making the legs longer than I needed by an inch or two, so I could cut them off. So this is the bottom end that I had adjusted. You can see the holes in there. Held it all together when I was twisting it in the box. Okay. There's some of the tools that I used. Cut down the line. And there it is. There's the back. You can see the adjustable thing. I just bought this stuff at the local hardware store and put it together. And it worked out pretty good because I could really get a repeatable taper on these legs. Because I had to do 8 of them. So I was concerned about making them all the same. And this box really was the secret. I got 8 legs. Actually, I did 10, 2 screwed up. That's normal, I suppose. Next. same setup again. And I used the level just to make sure that I was as close as I could be. But once you turn that router on, you have a tendency to lose focus on little things like level. You just go back and forth on that box until it's done. But it was fun, and it took me a lot of time, and I took pictures of it as I was going, thinking I'd do a presentation here, and then COVID came up, and I've been sending it home ever since. Go ahead. There's a finished one. Well, the biscuits aren't in it. This is one of my first ones. I tried to do it first without any biscuits. I sure made dust everywhere, that's for sure. There's one that's almost done. Here's the fan end. I ended up cutting this off because the fan end was on the ground. The table that tapered in right there was at the very top, underneath the top of the table. So that's a good view of it. Same thing, I think, just looking the other way. You can see the lines, like cut lines on there. And there I'm, got the square blank in there, realizing I can't cut the square because if I twist it just a little, I can have a whole lot of wood to cut out, and that router will jump or the wood will tear, and I ended up having to do it the slow way with hand planes. And then I got all the biscuits lined up and started putting the thing together. Didn't take too long. But working with that plywood wasn't real easy. That wasn't real thick plywood. And of course, there's not a lot of room when you get down here. Your taper better be accurate there, or it's not going to look good when you put it together. But thankfully, it all fit together. I just had to do some cutting here to make up some curves for my table to fit. Doesn't show very good. There's a very dado head there. It's hard to see. And I cut grooves for the top. This is just a support here to keep things square, because the actual top sits right across this leg and this surface here. So I mired mortise these in here. Stand up. Cutting the little grooves here. Right there was fun. Getting them square, and then I ended up using the excuse me, I ended up putting hardwood on surface on the edges of plywood. I cut little thin strips and covered the plywood so it wouldn't look very cheap when it was done. Okay. You can see what I'm talking about here. That wouldn't finish very well, so I put hardwood strips in there after I put it up there and determined how big a strip I needed. And I could put it in there, and you don't see any plywood when I finish the job. That's the bottom of it. You can see where I cut the bottom and tapered a little bit there. It's going together. Here's from the inside. I cut these grooves, a couple of dados here, for dividers in the table. And over here, this is where a shelf is. These are matching cabinets I made. This has the drawer, on the right, and the other cabinet has the drawer on the left.
So you made two
Yeah, and I made
cabinets.
two cabinets.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
everything
why you
here was
needed
done
8 legs.
twice, yeah. Sorry, I didn't explain that. But, you might add it up and figure out, oh, you're doing more than one project. But at any rate, that's it before I put the stain on. I had to make the tops too. I didn't worry about the top at all because I had these damn legs to build. That took me a long time. Okay. There's some of the tops, some of the cherry I got from Ralph. And there's, this is cabinet, I think. Can't tell which. Let's go together. There's the tops cut out. Just waiting to be glued. I don't know which cabinet this is. I lose track after a while. Luckily, I had enough clamps. It wasn't too hard to put together. But those biscuits don't like to line up by themselves. You really gotta be persuasive. Okay. There's one of the tapered, excuse me, tapered drawers I had to make. Drawer cover, because this taper here I had to mimic along the side of this drawer. The other side wasn't bad. This was plumb, but I had to do a special taper there, and that was fun. I got one piece of wood to match the drawers, so it turned out pretty nice. But unfortunately, my sister, who I built these for, lives in California. I haven't been able to get them out to her since I built them. I'm hoping the governor out there will lift the COVID restrictions and I go out there and golf or whatever I want to do in California. That's why they're sitting in my basement still. There they are.
Nice.
Yeah, almost got the lid on them, but yeah, it was fun getting into that stage. Oh yeah, there's a drawer pulled out.
Is that 3/4 inch wood?
Yeah, this is. Yeah, this is, I had some unusual wood I got from Ralph. It was a real light white wood. It was, what was it? Can't think of it right now. It was lighter than poplar. I didn't have any poplar at the time, but I had some scraps left over from the job I did. Can't think of the name of this wood right now. It's kind of unusual. But Ralph had some and I bought it, because I buy a lot of stuff from Ralph whenever I can.
Was it Lotus?
No, it
I
wasn't.
know he had a bunch that he was selling.
It was super lightweight.
Basswood.
No, it was almost that light though.
Sycamore.
Can't think of it. Keep.
Sycamore?
Soft mag.
Balsa.
They leave a triangular shaped leaves. They're yellow triangular shaped leaves. I can't think of the damn tree right now.
Ginkgo?
No. I'll tell you when I get it. So next one, I think is this. But there they got some, I put some linseed oil on them first, let them soak for a while. Ended up putting polyurethane over the whole thing when it was done, so they have a hard finish.
Did you brush it on or spray it on?
The poly,
The poly.
I wiped it on. I don't have the ability to spray anything, I'm like so dusty in my basement. I do everything with one poly. That's the back end. I put a little stamp on the end.
So you put polyurethane over the linseed oil?
Yeah, after it was dried for a couple weeks.
Did you use plywood for any of it?
Well, this is cherry plywood here.
Okay.
You're looking at it. I got that over at CU wood shop with the 2-inch thick cherry. And then the tops I got from Ralph. I think the poly's on there, maybe, I can't really tell. That's about it. But that's pretty cherry when it stained, it really looked nice. They've changed color since these pictures were taken too. A little darker.
Well, part of that's our projector too. If you review this later on YouTube, you'll see the color's a lot better on these pictures here.
Now, my sister wanted 2 of these to go in her bedroom, and she gave me the dimensions for the top, and they didn't fit the design, so I ended up having to cut the top a little narrower. They actually had it hung over a couple inches on both sides, according to the plan, but she said the plan wouldn't fit in her room, so I had to cut it down. But they're still sitting there. Hopefully I'll get them out there next year, maybe.
You have to put it in a pickup truck and haul it
Yeah,
out?
I've got a truck. I've been out there. I took a cherry table out there and made 5 years ago. Some really nice wood that I got from Ralph. But I haven't been able to go out there with my truck ever since.
Okay.
That's a long haul. I don't do it too often. And what questions do you have? All right.
Thanks, Paul. Okay. Bill Walden, where did Bill go? You ready?
Yep.
Okay. he starts, people have to know and understand, when we carried this thing in, there was no less than 4 people that said, ooh,
And I needed that.
Yeah. So, I thought that was really pretty cool. And, you made that by hand? Yep, all by myself. Wow. That's how it went, so, okay.
Okay, there is a little story behind this I want to start with. My daughter purchased a house. She didn't have any furniture. She went to a used furniture place and bought a dining room table that was about this color. She had no chairs. So she asked me if I would make her a couple of benches for her dining room table in the dining room. So I said, okay, I'll try it. And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, I want to learn something if I'm going to do it, because I didn't know how to do most of this stuff. So go to Ralph. Rich Nichols helped me a lot in picking out the wood and maybe how to do some of the things. And I took it all home and started on it. It took me about a year. So what happened though was in her dining room, she was not able, when they got done eating, they left the room and it was a useless room for the rest of the time. So the table was about 6 feet long. This is, I think, 5'10" on top. I went to Ralph's and chose the wood with Rich and got started on it. I wanted to go rough cut so I could learn how to cut a straight edge on a board that didn't have a straight edge. Simple stuff, right? Most of you guys it is, I know. But I didn't know how to do it, so I learned that. And then we had to, I wanted to get it down to about 15/16 on these sides here for strength, because it's so far between these legs. And I think that paid off in doing that. And I was thinking about putting a support in the middle of some kind. I did not do that because I thought I had enough otherwise. The things that I learned on this, that became the longest list on my paper here. And I'll just run through. Cutting that straight edge, sanding more than I ever sanded before. Mortise and Tenons. These are all Mortise and Tenons. Most of them, Rich helped me drill on the mortises, but everything else I did by hand with a chisel and knife or whatever I had, which was not too many tools. But I got through that all right. Edge gluing, there's a piece of, this top is 3/4 inch plywood with a veneer, cherry veneer on it. And I put a piece of cherry all the way around the edges of that. So gluing that on was something I hadn't done. Mortise and tenon gluing, I hadn't done that much. Gluing the stock together to make these legs, you can see I think there's just 2 pieces in each one of these, but hadn't done that before. Planing, I got pretty good using a hand plane. But then we planed all this wood down. Again, Rich helped me do this, planed it down to the proper thickness because it just needed to be right and there wasn't any other way of doing it. Cleaning this up afterwards, after putting the polyurethane on, cleaning stuff off of it. It cleans off really good, the polyurethane. When I took it to my daughter, she said that after having these in the room, it's like a new room in their house that they were able to use as a family of 4. And they just sat around the table and talked naturally when they had these benches in there versus the 2 or 3 chairs that they had before.
She didn't want 2 of them?
I made 2. Yeah, I did make 2.
Why don't you bring the other one in?
Yeah.
And so inside, I thought she needed the storage also because her house is small. And so there's about, I think it's 5 inches in here that she stores all her placemats and towels and whatever she wants to put in there.
Where'd you get those hinges?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you get your edges?
These hinges I got at Pekin Hardwoods. They're torsion hinge, I think is what it's called. You can see what I'm doing here.
Nice.
Okay? That was for the little fingers that run around in that house. I was told to put this piece of plywood on this one so that this would not work. And that has worked so far.
Bill, is the second one in your house? This is the second one.
No, she's got them both.
She's got them both, so you had to go over to her house, say, I wanna take your
Yeah.
bench.
So she's eating on the floor.
And I'm gonna show this off to
You
you guys.
notice I mentioned cleaning the polyurethane?
Uh-huh.
I had to clean it before I could bring it. So, but I had this at my house for an open house. We had a lot of people at our house. And there was two pretty good sized people that sat down on this at once. And I'm not kidding you, I don't know where my heart went, but I thought it was a goner then. Nothing, it worked fine. So it made me a big fan of the Mortise and Tenon, and also the strength of this wood on the edge. So,
Rich is kind of a high dollar guy when he helps anybody. Did you have to buy him a hamburger?
you know what, he didn't come after me with that, so he was willing to do it.
So
Any
why?
questions?
Yeah, why'd you use hand planes instead of a joiner and planer to get the wood to the right thickness?
Didn't have either one.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I shortage of tools in my house, so, yes, sir.
You say this piece that's in there to prevent warpage or whatever, is that a solid piece?
No,
Or is that also a piece of cherry plywood?
That's a piece of cherry, 3/4 inch plywood, and I've got the cherry around it also.
Around it, okay.
Yep. Thank you. Oh, the bottom, I got a bottom in here, you can't see it. Oh, sure. It's, plywood, and I've got it screwed into a rabbet there.
How heavy is that?
Oh, it's just awkward for one person, but
Yeah.
two people.
I heard
can
he just
move it.
offered to take it out to your car for you.
So, that's all I got.
How long did it take?
Well, I worked on it when I had time and when I was
Right.
in the mood.
Right, okay.
It took me a year.
Took a year.
Yeah.
Was that for both pieces?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
took a year.
And what did your daughter say when you said, I have to take this in to show it off?
She had no problem with it. But she didn't clean it either, so.
The poly, is it a spray, wipe on, brush, what is it?
Somebody asked me that over here a while ago. I used that green can from Pekin Hardwoods. It had a green wrapper on it. It seems like it said Armstrong.
Armor seal.
Armor Seal, I think that might have been.
General finishes armor seal.
What I did first, though, I put tongue oil on this, I think 2 coats of tongue oil. And then I did, wiped on 4 coats of polyurethane. And when it finally stopped sucking it up, I did the last coat with a brush. And that's where it's at.
Good. So what's the difference between tongue oil and linseed oil?
Ask these guys, I don't know.
Because the guy who was up here a minute ago, he used linseed oil on his project.
Yeah.
And you use tongue oil.
Yeah.
Tongue oil's a little heavier.
Is it? What's the linseed oil do
Are
to
they,
the wood?
are they both preservatives?
Yeah.
They are, aren't they?
Okay.
You wanna move this back? Yes. I can't do this. We can just go back here.
Okay. All right, thanks, Bill. Very well done. All right. Roland, would you like to show us your table?
I make a lot of furniture and I get requests from people that say, I want a coffee table, or I want this or that, so this is just something I made recently. This was just on Ralph's slab pile where he throws stuff away, you know, after he does it. It's got really a nice figure, and I left the bark on one end. This is just a piece of figured walnut. It did go, I was a little leery about going through the planer because I didn't want to knock the bark off. So I just went through the drum sander to shape it up. It's all, you know, Mortise and Tenons joinery that I do with my horizontal mortising machine. They're free floating right here. Mortise at both sides. Takes about 20 minutes to do all these legs. And then I glue up the short ends first, and then I glue the rail on the long end after that. As you might know, that this is about 20 inches wide, and that means over one season it's going to move a quarter of an inch so that you can't screw the legs to that. So there are grooves cut, and then there are right angle buttons that hold it. They're not glued into the groove so that it can expand and contract, and so that anytime you're building something out of hardwood that you're putting, you've got to be able to allow it to move. There are 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that you can do that, so that with wider screw holes or different techniques, so that this can move on your base. I did not go to the tape of the legs or do any of that, although I'm building one now that I'll probably bring in November that's out of mahogany with different type of a leg. So I just like this piece of wood that I found, and from that decided what to make. And so somebody wanted this coffee table.
Looks good, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Ralph.
If we have time, I'll say a couple minutes on
Yes,
that.
you're next. Norm has got cutting boards that he has passed through the group.
The cutting boards that were passed around, because I thought we were running out of time, some of them are made in strips like this, just edge glued. But others, like this, are called end grain. You take one like that and you cut it in strips this wide to get this thickness. Then you flip-flop those end for end, and you get an alternating pattern, let's say like a checkerboard. These look dull in finish and dull in color because they have not been treated with anything. This is sanded wood. The beauty of this end grain is the fibers in the wood are really like tiny straws with solids, like the outside of the straw. And when a knife cuts into this one, it scores the fibers and gives fatty meats and oily juice a chance to get in and turn rancid in the wood, and leaves little chips. However, when you cut into end grain, it's like a knife cutting this way, and when you pull the knife out, the fibers close up, and it's kind of self-preserving. The standard oil is nothing but baby oil. It's really mineral oil. Mineral oil is the ingredient for baby oil, and baby oil has a little bit of fragrance added to it. So a lot of people milk the public by calling baby oil a special cutting board oil, and they'll charge $5 or $10 for a little 4-ounce bottle. A way to improve baby oil or mineral oil is to add about 10% beeswax. That thickens it and makes it sort of like soft butter. And that thickened type is better for a tune-up after you've used your board for 3 to 6 months, depending on how often you use it. You never ever wash these in soapy water. You rinse them in clear water and wipe them dry immediately. The better way to get a better sanded finish is to sand down to 220 grit and then mist it with water. Give that a chance to dry, and then the whiskers will raise, especially on this type, and you sand it once more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Terry?
Okay.
Oh.
By the way, I'd appreciate anybody giving me a suggestion on pricing these things.
Okay, first I'll talk about this little box so I can bring it. I had somebody who is making, presentations, and he's putting them on thumb drives. And he needed a bunch of little boxes to put his thumb drives in. So on my CNC, I can make these little boxes, and then on the laser, I actually put the business name and the email address on that. So then after he makes the presentation, the memorial videos and stuff, then he can put it in the box and then hand those out to the people. So that's just something that's mixing a CNC with the laser and just basic woodworking. Okay. And then this one, several months ago, we went and had a in-shop, Larry Metzger? Jerry Metzger. Mercer.
Mercick.
Mercer. Okay, Jerry Mercer.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll get it right between all of
Yeah.
us.
And so part of the presentation is we did this walnut board, and I was able to take it home. And then from Ralph, I got this spalted maple board, and my sister does the Garden of Innocence projects, and this is one of the urns that I'm gonna mail to her. And so it's got a little baby that's lasered in and a little saying, and it's a nice little project that I thought from the in-shop, the wood that we used. So there you go.
My apologies for crashing your presentation because I thought we were done and running out of time.
No, it wasn't. Same thing. Just show and tell. Same thing you're doing. Nope, you didn't.
What kind of CNC machine do you have?
I have Avid 4x4. It can be expanded easily to a 4x8, and that's the reason I picked this one. That, and it comes in 28 little boxes and little pieces, so I can bring each one down in the basement, and it ends up being a full-size machine once I get it down. But I didn't have any problems getting anything downstairs. And we were talking about maybe doing a shop presentation at my house sometime. But since it's in my basement, we can't have a whole bunch of people at once.
What kind of CAD program are you using?
What?
What kind of CAD program are you using? On the CNC?
VCarve,
Oh,
and,
so, okay.
yeah. And that's, and then, the Avid has the other part of it that runs the machine itself.
Runs the machine.
Mock
Yeah.
board.
Huh?
You use mock board?
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of laser do you have?
I have Glowforge, not the one with the pass-through, but the middle one. I really like that one, especially because of the camera. You can just put it right in there, and it has one button. You just basically tell it, the power and the speed, and it goes. It just has autofocus as a camera, as opposed to my CNC, which has, all the different bits and all the different wood, it has a whole bunch of different variables that the laser doesn't have. Okay, any questions on the box or anything?
So the wood burning of the fractal-like design, you did that at Marcy's place?
Yeah, that was that was the demonstration. He
Okay,
was
that's
doing
right.
it with, he had, originally it was a microwave transformer, and anybody remember what the new one was he had that was bigger?
That was the,
Neon light.
Yeah.
That's, I have one that's neon, it's from a neon light. I had done a presentation here a couple years ago on it.
And since then, I've destroyed a microwave just getting the transformer out of it.
I've got one.
So, I don't know what's in there. Yeah.
What do they use, baking soda or something up over the cover on the top of it and then put your probes on the?
Yeah, we did that, and what was the other one we did? It was, like borax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Did it
found.
take very long to get it to?
No, it just takes off right away.
It depends on how absorbent the wood is. Because it's really just running through the,
Yeah, that'd be kinda cool to see.
I got a video of it.
you wanna see it?
Try, if you do that, the Arm & Hammer washing soda. I don't know if it's borax or not, but I get more current through it
Right.
than I do with the borax
Oh,
or
okay.
baking soda. It's Arm & Hammer washing soda.
Oh.
I don't know what its base ingredient is, but I was getting a lot more current flow. I was using it to etch tools and etch the rust off tools.
Oh.
And I was getting a lot more current through it than I was through the borax or the baking soda.
Well, I believe that's 5 presentations, what?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh, yeah, that's enough for me, Pat. I can talk 2 minutes about anything.
Thank you, Todd.
Guys, thank you. It was an excellent meeting. Yes, that's coming up next. Next month's committee, Bob Fox, Oliver Gross, Bob Leffler, Rich Nichols, Greg Seifert, and Josh Turner, okay? Well, next month, we're gonna have elections, so that'll be a little bit of business. So let's see if we can get another 5 or 6 guys to do some really cool stuff and end the year on a really high note.
The guy from Grafton is open to come that night.
Okay, we'll see what we can do, all right, an outside speaker, okay?
One other thing, at the board meeting, did we decide to hold off on the 50/50 raffles?
Yes.
Does the club know that or just us?
It has something to do with our tax
Bylaws and-
free
It's a-
bylaws,
It's a tax thing.
That's why we're not having
Ta-
it.
tax
So everybody
numbers.
knows.
Technically, they're illegal, is that right, or is it?